Mistress, the last of the handmaidens is not among us.
She has left with the exile.
Left?
But why? Her oath.
I sent her to travel with the exile. She may discover something I cannot.
Mistress, the last of the handmaidens, she is willful, and she has demonstrated her fascination with Jedi. It may not have been why.
I know what I have done, but it was necessary.
Well, now that we're off that Dejaric board of a planet, I say we burn sky until we see lines.
What is the machine saying? We seem to have found it.
Do you know why we have called you here?
As Revan summoned you, so have you come full circle to return to the Jedi.
Why did you defy us? The Jedi are guardians of the peace, and have been for centuries. This call to war undermines all that we have worked for.
Is Revan your master now? Or is it the horror you wrought at Malachor that has caused you to see the truth at last?
It is good you recognize this. It means you will understand why you must leave us. We feel that your true understanding of what happened at Malachor 5 will only happen in time, and it cannot happen here, near the battlegrounds where you fought.
You are exiled, and you are a Jedi no longer.
There is one last thing. Your lightsaber. Surrender it to us.
Much defiance in that one.
You are correct, Kavar. When he was here, I felt it. It was as if he was not there, more like an echo.
Revan's influence has grown amongst the youngest of the Order. She speaks to their passions, not their sense. The war has touched them. Many of them have found themselves in the war against the Mandalorians.
It is as I feared, and I fear that we have played into the hands of the enemy.
We have not lost a Jedi this day. You felt it. He has lost himself. He is no Jedi. He walked Revan's path, but he was not strong enough.
I fear it is our teachings that may have led Revan to choose the path she did.
We are not the ones who taught her.
We take responsibility, Atris, not cast blame.
The choice of one was the choice of us all. Revan's teacher intended no harm, and Revan had many teachers since.
Yet they all stem from the same source. Her teachings violated the Jedi Code and lead all who listen to the dark side, as they did the exile.
You are wrong. The dark side is not what I sensed in the exile. Surely the rest of you felt it as well. That emptiness we felt. He has changed.
Whatever that wound was, it was of the dark side. We should not have let him depart. He will simply join Revan again, or perhaps worse.
What would you have done with him, Atris? Be mindful of your feelings. This is not Revan who stood before you. This one walks a different path.
No, although that may come in time. We let him go because we must. Where he travels, he carries his destination with him.
Malachor 5 should have been his grave. You saw it in his walk, and in the Force. It was as if he was already dead.
No, not death. Many battles remain for that one, if what we have seen is true. But the future is a shifting thing, and he cuts like a blade through it.
We should have told him the truth. A Jedi deserves to know.
No good would have come from it, even if what you believe was true. There is still the matter of Revan, and such truths could leave us vulnerable on two fronts.
Perhaps in many years, we will call him before us and explain what happened to him, and how he may be healed. Until then, he must accept his journey.
But he may never discover the truth, and he will never know why we cast him out.
And that is the future we must accept.
Those Jedi sure like their secrets, don't they?
A strange coincidence.
It is no coincidence. There is some larger plan at work here, and we are walking into it. This is too convenient to be anything but a trap.
Those are Atris's records you have stolen.
What the hell are you doing on our ship?
I have come to join you. I can help you against this threat.
Well, we don't want your help. Or any of your sisters.
If it comforts you to believe that, then so be it. But the enemies you face are many, and you will need all the help you can get. It is just me, and I am doing this because Atris believes you will need help.
Indeed. But of course, what does one more matter to our journey? I have had enough of this. I will be in my chambers.
Yeah, me too. I'll be in my chambers. But since I don't have any, I guess I'll just go to the cockpit like I always do. If she's coming with us, she gets the cargo hold. Might remind her how fun it is to get locked up.
General.
The cargo hold is enough. I assure you, there is little I need. I will attend to myself. It is no matter. I am used to worse conditions, but thank you for your kindness.
General, is there a reason you don't carry a lightsaber anymore? That's not your lightsaber anymore. That belonged to someone who served Revan in the wars, not the person you are now. You could build another one, if you wanted to, but you know that. I don't know, General, but whatever the reason, you should put it behind you. I know this. A lightsaber is part of who you are. Without it, you're not complete. I think I can help you out there. I happen to know the parts you need. I spent a lot of time around Jedi during the war. None of them would let me take their lightsaber apart, but I did learn about their construction. We need a power cell, emitter matrix, lens and focusing crystal. Though I have to admit the crystal is beyond my means. Never did understand them. Those parts are fairly common, though a Jedi once told me that it's best if your lightsaber reflects you, and if it is constructed of things that identify it as your own. Just bring the parts to me before you get started building it. I'll make sure they're usable.
For the last time, no. Because you're programmed to force your opponent to go first, and nothing will convince me the computer doesn't cheat. Even if I didn't have to go first and somehow I didn't suspect you of counting cards, I still wouldn't play with a trash compactor. Yeah? How many credits?
All I'm saying is that you've gone for a long time without a memory wipe. Most droids behave erratically under those circumstances. I know that, but I'm fixing everything else around here, so I may as well take a look at you too. What was that? That's what I'm talking about. That is not normal droid behavior. I am not pushing you around. I just wanted to see if there was anything I could do to upgrade your functionality. Good. Now let's get started. You wouldn't guess it from the outside, but it looks like you've been through a lot. I'll bet. I'm all done with you. If anything comes loose, let me know and I'll put it back in place. I didn't want to talk about the war, but can I ask you something? Why did you decide to fight? The war went poorly before Revan and the Jedi lent aid to the Republic. Many of us believed the Jedi to be cowards who were afraid to face the Mandalorian threat. I remembered when word of the Mandalorian attacks arrived on Iridonia. My people had colonies across the Outer Rim. Many of them were among the first systems to fall. Revenge, and to crush the Mandalorians, to send them back to wherever it was they came from. I did not join because I wanted to protect, though. I hated them. I wanted to destroy them, to give them the mercy they gave the people they conquered. I remember the thrill I felt when we fought them in battle. Victories were rare, but we celebrated every Mandalorian's death. Do you know how it felt? I couldn't do that. It was almost as though the battle took control of me, drove me forward. It's always on my mind now. That loss of control blinded me, turned me into a weapon. I just needed to get that off my chest. Was there something you wanted me for? Just working on the ship. I'm not sure who got her up and running, but I'm amazed she's even space-worthy. Whoever made these repairs doesn't think like most mechanics. But don't worry, I'll get everything in shape.
T3, there's not much time. Now, I've seen her start to turn as we near the end, but there's still a chance to save her. Now, if I fail, I need you to do whatever you can to protect her. Now, I'm convinced that whatever the Jedi Council did, there's still some humanity left in her. There has to be. Do what you can, T3. And if I don't make it back, then I need you to go find help. Other Jedi, the Republic, anyone you think can help. If you don't, we may lose her and the galaxy.
Yes? I am training, so that if danger should strike, my body and my reflexes will be prepared. That, and I had forgotten how long hyperspace travel can be. If I do not have something to focus my attention on, I fear my sanity will erode as well.
What do you mean, Pazak? What, again?
No, I do not trust him. That too. That is untrue. You and the Iridonian trust each other. Or at least the Iridonian trusts you. We heard much of the Iridonian when we served Atris. Atris believed that the Iridonian held the knowledge to restoring Telos. The reasons for such siphoning of power are complicated, and I do not know all the answers. But there is something greater being achieved. The teachings at the Academy must be preserved, even if it draws strength from Telos. Yes, his skill with machines is something beyond which most can aspire to. His shield technology surpasses the designs of even the most skilled of Echani power architects. I do not realize if you know what it means to have such a one respect and follow you. The Iridonian allied himself with no one on the entire world of Telos, yet he will follow you at the risk of his life. His stance, in many ways, mirrors yours. Where he walks, he carries a world upon his shoulders, and like you, I do not know if he has ever faced it. I see. Forgive my words. They were poorly chosen. It does not sound like it is in the past, but I shall respect your wishes. Yes? You may ask. We attend Atris. It is the duty of all of us, from the first of my sisters to me, the last of the handmaidens. I am the last of the handmaidens. This is correct. I train so that one day that will no longer be true. That is not entirely correct. There are times I am distracted. Perhaps once having known the ways of the Jedi, you may understand what occupies my thoughts. There is much knowledge on Telos, and only one of the Jedi remain. There is so much about their ways of battle, their forms, their stances, that may be lost forever if the last of the Jedi is taken from the galaxy. Atris has already preserved it. What I wonder is if the Jedi teachings should not simply be stored, but brought to others. There is much in their approach to battle that is worthy to be shared. To the Echani, battle is a means of communication. It is an art in the truest sense of the word. Stance, form, discipline are a means of expression and communication. They speak one's heart and one's devotion to their cause. Yes, the methods you use to meet your opponents speak truer than any words can express. When you risk pain or death, there is no truer sacrifice or strength. It was to the Jedi traitor Malak. It was to the Jedi traitor Revan. When Terrace was destroyed, it showed Malak's heart through its execution and intent. It was brutal, without finesse, but showed his commitment to defeat the Jedi. Yet with Revan, there was the same commitment, but it was a subtle thing, like weaving threads in a tapestry or strokes upon a canvas. She spoke through battles and tactics in a way one could never do in words. She showed her heart at Malachor V, and finally at the end of the Jedi Civil War. I believe she was speaking to Malik in that final battle, though few knew it. Through battle, Revan was meeting betrayal with betrayal, and showing Malik the pain he had inflicted on his master. What stronger display than death for conveying one's sense of being betrayed by one's own student? Revan's anger must have been great indeed. I would have wished to have been there for that final exchange, and seen the truth of their conflict with each other. But to say that seems an untruth, based on what I know of the Jedi. The Force can drive others, but there is still choice, is there not? If there is no choice in the Force, then our teachings and our actions are for nothing, and I refuse to believe that is true. Yes? You may ask. I honor the face of my mother. It is not something usually spoken of in the company of others. There is no need to apologize. You were merely remarking on something that you saw. There is no wrong in that. It is not a sensitive subject, but a subject that requires trust. There is no such trust between you and I, and such trust takes time. You may ask. Before entering Atris's service, yes, I carried a name, as all the children of the Ichani do. It is not important. My title and rank is of consequence, not my name. I take value in Atris's service, not in myself. We all have value in our oaths to others, and the promises we make. When we make that pledge, we are pledging ourselves to something greater. When importance is placed on the self, then by such acts the galaxy is unmade. If reasons of the self is why you turned away, then yes, perhaps there was a judgment there, but it was not intended as an attack. I do not know. That is a question you must ask yourself. I meant no offense, but the question remains. If the question angers you, oftentimes there is a reason for such anger. Yes? I am training that... You may ask. She said you betrayed the Jedi by going to war when it was forbidden to you. You turned on your masters, your teachings, and yourself. That is not all she says. She says you know nothing of loyalty to any cause except your own animal instincts, and she told us why you fell to the dark side. Atris says that you fell to the dark side in the Mandalorian Wars when you gave in to your lust for battle. Once you tasted war, you could not give it up. Atris says when the Dark Lord Revan returned to the Republic, you did not march with them, because you had fallen so far you could no longer feel the Force. So it was a matter of choice then. If Atris has erred in her evaluation of your motivations, it might be best to inform her. I believe that is the extent of her expressed feelings toward you. There are variations at times, but all rise from the same foundation. Yes, it is difficult sometimes for others to truly speak their heart or listen to it. The words often prove difficult, or they do not come at all. Without having seen you and Atris fight, I cannot say. Battle is a pure form of expression. It is heart and discipline, reduced to movement and motion. Then her expressed feelings will have to suffice. You may ask. I do not wish to speak of her to you. Her actions are her own, and to reveal to you if she sees fit.
How many more do we intend to gather to us? This ship is not the galaxy. There is only so much room. Is it? Perhaps you are wrong. They will follow you because you are a leader. Their kind always needs such, even when the figure deserves no such obedience. Because I am not blind, that is why. I see what they see, hear their voices when they speak to you, and notice the change when they speak to others. I know many things, and I know what I am not. I am no leader. I speak with a voice that will never move others. I speak with a passion that goes unheard. They obey you because you are a leader, and perhaps something more. Have you noticed what has been happening? Have you felt it in them? They echo you, either fighting or surrendering to their feelings, their loyalty, their duty. Your mere presence serves as an example to them of something to uphold or something to fight against. Watch them carefully, see their patterns, and recognize the strength in it. Influence can be a weapon, one that you may need before your journey is done. I am but a mirror whose only purpose is to show you what your own eyes cannot yet see. Good, and then act upon it. It is a powerful tool to motivate others. That was Revan's way, I believe. It was a strength. A discussion, perhaps, for another time. Yes, have you come with questions? That is something we will leave until we possess a lightsaber and a proper sparring partner. Very well. What is it that drives you? Ask. There are countless reasons, and I have neither the time nor the patience to list them all. Do you think to turn her from Atris's will? If so, I hope your arrogance will prove true in time. But I will abide her presence. She may have her uses. Because Atris is a threat, and as much as she would try to use us against you, so may we use her servants against her. Do not see every enemy as an enemy. See them instead as an ally, whether they realize it or not. This situation may yet work to our advantage. Good. That is the most to be done until events unfold, as I'm sure they will in time. Yes, have you come with questions? Ask. Does it matter? Of course it does. Such titles allow you to break the galaxy into light and dark, categorize it. Perhaps I am neither, and I hold both as what they are, pieces of a whole. Know that I am your teacher, and that is enough. Or what? Shall you kill me? Hurt me? You would only be inflicting harm on yourself. Perhaps you will keep me here on this ship prisoner, unable to leave. Or perhaps you will simply cast me out, exile me. It matters not. That is enough for today, and I must rest.
Something up? Alright. Huh? What are you talking about?
Oh, that. Don't tell anyone, but you wouldn't believe how many fights you can prevent by just pretending to know that stuff. I mean, it doesn't compare to wearing a lightsaber, but then again, that doesn't seem to help you much. Well, hey, thanks. But you've got the wrong guy. I'm good at shooting people, cracking wise, and pretending to know how to fight with my hands.
Yes? Yes?
Unnecessary observation. Targets acquired. Annoying recitation. Let us proceed to facilitate communications. Recitation. And bring about the termination of hostilities. Ratio achieved. spelling, Master. Systems failing, Master.
So you've returned. While I was disturbed that you chose to defy our orders and obtain transport off Citadel Station, the matter has since been closed. It was the decision of Republic authorities that your testimony would no longer be necessary, and thus you'd be allowed to go. But as we discovered, you had already left. In some ways it was lucky for us, avoiding a possibly embarrassing situation. Why does the Republic do anything? The head doesn't know what the feet are doing. The hands don't even know they've got fingers, let alone where they are. My opinion, they probably performed their independent investigation and figured it wasn't your fault. Anyways, you should just be glad I decided to overlook the fact you escaped arrest. Yeah. And if there's nothing else, I've got a job to do. What is it? I see. And where and when did you kill them? I see. Well, you certainly earned the bounty on those two dangerous criminals. Here it is. I think you'll find the amount more than adequate. The TSF once again thanks you for your cooperation.
Well, check it again. It can't be anything else. Just check the damn connector. I don't trust the diagnostics any more than I trust you. Because I don't like droids. They break. In the head. Well, whatever you call that thing on your head. Yeah, well, if I'm mean to you, it's because I care.
Betrayal. Machines. His passion for such things defies me.
Yes? Training is something reserved for certain caste members of the Echani, but I do not see the harm in instructing you in some basic principles. I do not understand how you and Atris fight. but I will instruct you on how Ichani children are raised on warfare. All Ichani fighting principles rely on foundations. If one does not understand the most basic of fighting moves, it is not possible to understand the higher tiers. It is similar to learning the alphabet of a language before being able to use words, then sentences. As a foundation, I will instruct you in our elementary movements. The body itself is the first weapon you must master. It is not something that can be described. Let us duel, you and I, and that shall teach you more than my words can. Use only your hands and feet to strike at me, nothing else, or our combat shall be over. Do not resort to using any items or any force techniques you may possess. Such things will obstruct learning. Duels among the Ichani are rituals, and it does not allow for armor or anything that restricts movement. Now, are you ready? Very well. I shall match my movements to resist your efforts, and do not hold back, or I will hurt you. You fought well indeed. You have caught the principles of the style by watching and anticipating my movements. Before you go, there is something I must know. Why did you go back, face trial? I see. It was always something I was curious about. To walk to one's own sentence willingly. It's a brave thing. Yes? I do not think you are ready for further instruction. Each movement of our arts demands some time to use the art in battle, or to examine how it may be best used in battle. It is the way of the Ichani to be able to read their opponents, to know where an opponent is going to strike before it connects, anticipate it, and then strike against them. Ichani battles are fought several minutes in advance. In many ways, it is much like the game of Dejarik, played in the core systems. The most advanced among the Ichani are able to predict the course of battles by months, and the most revered are said to be able to predict the path of wars. Only Revan ever demonstrated such skill in war, and even as she slaughtered us, the Ichani still respected her. You are already doing it. If you do not know you are doing it, then training will make you a dangerous opponent indeed. Come, as we fight more, I will teach you. Do not think about predicting my movements. React instinctively. You are doing better. At first I was afraid that your awareness of your own ability might ruin it, but that is not the case. You learn quickly. Perhaps it is your connection to the Force that allows such things, but I do not think so. Now you fight as an Ichani warrior fights, always in the future. Yes? I fail to understand the problem. I had heard the Coreward systems had customs concerning modesty, but when training, such customs are not practical or efficient. I can see no fault in your reasoning. I do have bulkier clothes. Will this do? They suffice for training purposes. They belong to my mother. She was the one my father followed to war. She was a Jedi. These are her robes. I have not worn them since they came into my possession. They are the only thing of her that I possess. I think you misunderstand. I have no feelings concerning her, at all. There is only curiosity. I never knew her. There is no absence of presence when there was nothing there to begin with. I miss only that I never knew her at all, and what it was about her that caused my father to follow her to war. Yes? They are. She was the one. I never knew her. I miss only that I never knew her. She speaks of you often in anger, but her movements, the motion of her hand, her eyes, do not share the anger of her words. They are only the signs of loss. It has been almost the count of 10 years, yet the thought of you burns within her still. I believe that your leaving the Jedi Order may have hurt her more than she will ever admit. It is a difficult thing to speak of, to see Atris unable to confront such strong emotion within herself. You did not care for her, did you? Atris is beautiful and wise. I have heard that Jedi sometimes renounce the code by loving another and fall from the Order, and there are others who keep such unions secret. Pulling a bindo? Very well. Are there such unions? That is what I have heard. I was not sure if it was something you had seen or experienced. I see. I have asked you many questions. I did not mean to. They are questions that have gathered over years, and I did not wish to ask Atris. Thank you, then. I hope this creates some measure of trust between us. You may ask. Yes? You may. It is not possible to dock at the Academy without the proper codes. Yes, but I could not give them to you. You may ask. I honor the face of my mother. It is not something usually spoken of in the company of others. Yes, that is correct. I feel that I may trust you with such things, so I shall speak of it if you wish to hear it. Though my father's blood I share with my sisters, I wear the face of my mother. My father was Usanis, an Ichani general. He left our family to serve in the Mandalorian Wars, but his choice was not because of battle. He went to join my mother, one whose movements and spirit matched his. His only desire was that they fight together, side by side, for as long as there were enemies amassed against them. I never saw her face, and she did not return from the final battle of the war. She died in the battle that shattered Malachor 5, and her body was never recovered. My father returned from the Mandalorian Wars and did not enter battle again. He entered politics, a caste where one's battles are fought through words rather than action. He was slain by Revan in the Jedi Civil War. When Revan sought to destabilize the Ichani worlds, Revan succeeded. The fact that our father chose battle is not shameful, but that is not the reason he went to war. He went to war to be with the one he loved, but not the one he had pledged himself to. He was disloyal. I am the mark of that disloyalty. It is said that such things run in the blood, and I have fought long to prove that this is not so. That is why I am different from my sisters. Yet I am pledged to them, and Atris, and I would die before betraying them. I tell you this in trust, and ask that you not speak of it to others. I only wish you to know. Because when my father returned from the Mandalorian Wars, he walked as you do now. There was something wounded inside him. He did not speak of what had happened there, and with us he was silent, changed. When I look upon you, I see in you an answer to a question I have searched for all my life, and that is why I tell you this now. I do not believe you to be the monster Atris made you out to be. I believe your choice was my father's choice, and it was just as difficult. Malachor 5 is the place where I lost my mother and my father, but it was their choice to fight the Mandalorians and to die there if Malachor was to be their grave. I know it is difficult for others to see why I am here, but it was important that you know one of the reasons, and know that it is not simply duty that I am here, but because I want to be here. I want to fight with you side by side for as long as there are enemies that threaten you. You are a leader. Your stance, your every action proves it. You honor me, Exile. Together, then.
You are spending time with the servant of Atris. I knew her mother. She was a Jedi Knight, a master, named Aaron Kai. Jedi are forbidden to have children, and when the crime finally came to light almost a decade later, Kai was exiled. She joined the Mandalorian Wars after the shame of her birth was revealed. Revan welcomed her, and she was said to be a skilled warrior, beautiful and strong in the Force. The Force flows strongly in the blood of those born from Force sensitives. I doubt that Aaron was any different. If the servant of Atris is of her blood, then the potential lies within her. If you train her, if you teach her the ways of the Jedi, you will be asking her to break her oath to Atris. It would be best not to train her, and let the bloodline die with Telos. Should she? By whose judgment should such truths be revealed? I do not have such arrogant presumptions. The Jedi separate children from their parents as they did you. It is because family exerts a powerful influence on one's development. I am merely saying that revealing such things can have profound consequences, nothing more. You must train yourself first. The time will reveal itself. Yet if you persist as you have, building her trust, then you will be training her, whether you know it or not, until the choice is hers, not yours. Before you go, a word of caution. Spend time with her if you must, but recognize where your true loyalties lie, to the galaxy and yourself. Ah, so then perhaps I was mistaken in my judgment. Never have you wondered what it would mean in the Ichani rituals if the two of you sparred and fought, and you won, completely and utterly? If perhaps she would give in, surrender herself to you? Few are the thoughts that can hide in the shadows of your mind, Exile. And such passions are not strength, but erosion. No? Then perhaps I was simply mistaken. Very well. I shall keep such judgments to myself. Yes? Ask. Betrayal, and by a machine that I will not abide. Machines. Always did Revan use them to inflict her will on the galaxy, whether in war or in assassination. Her passion for such tools, for things dead to the Force, defies me. She would have loved a human droid such as you, dead to the Force, a shell that would carry out her orders. It is no matter. It is a device, and now it is broken.
Yes? I do not think you are ready for further instruction.
Yes, General? Let me see what you have. No, you're still missing an emitter matrix and lens. Something else I can help you with? If the Republic would just rein Zerka in, there'd be no problem. But as long as Zerka is allowed to undermine the Ithorians' efforts, Telos will remain dead. I can't take seeing my work being used by those bloodsuckers. But there's nothing I can do about it, so let's talk about something else. Something else I can help you with?